So after two preseason games, what are some takeaways we are learning about from your San Antonio Spurs?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Spurs. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Five Spurs beat writer. And welcome back. We appreciate you making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. We are everywhere. The Locked On Network, and especially the Locked On NBA shows, are into high gear right now with the NBA season. Well, regular season just right around the corner. And as always, we appreciate you. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your $5 bet. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So what are we talking about today? Two preseason games in the books for your San Antonio Spurs. What are we learning about this team? What are takeaways? We're going to give out three. Our guest is going to get 2 bites at the apple. I'm going to get one. There's your total of 3 takeaways from just 2 preseason games. I wonder if my guest is going to be talking about the Wemby CP3 connection. Well, we'll see if he brings that up. And then get into your thoughts, Locked On Spurs fan comments. I don't know what's gotten into you guys. Seriously. Did y'all wake up on the wrong side of the bed? You guys are leaving some very hot takes regarding the Spurs roster already. Regular season hasn't even begun. And then we're going to give a quick shout out to Danny Green. The former Spur has announced he has retired from the game. But yes, 2 preseason games are under the books. Spurs are 1-1, coming off a loss to the Thunder and then beating the Magic. Now, of course, preseason games, we get it. They don't really matter as much. You just want to see everybody stay healthy, get back into rhythm, shake off the rust, and be ready for the regular season. But we're really learning a lot about your Spurs, from Wemby to CP3 to Steph Castle to guys that could push the Spurs to thinking about giving them a roster spot like Riley Minix. We're going to be discussing that and so much more. Personally, I like what I'm seeing out of Minix, but we'll bring it up in just a few minutes. We're going to bring in our guest. He is Jack Thompson. Look, he is back, everybody. Yeah.
What up?
That's his signature move here. But can you believe it? Regular season's like just weeks away?
Yeah, it's so close, man. It's so close. I'm so excited.
Me too. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Do that right now. He is formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. And for me, I must be having a Thompson circuit / tour or something. And I ran into Jack's dad couple days ago at the game, and now Jack is back. By the way, your dad did compliment you being on Los, so he said you're doing a good job. I paid him to say that for you. How's that? But Jack, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just excited that NBA ball is back. Been loving watching the preseason games.
Yeah, me too. Even though, again, we get it, their preseason, it doesn't matter much. Look, Spurs won titles when they win winless in the preseason, so it really, really doesn't matter. But that was then. This is now. You want to see these young guys keep on their developmental path and building that chemistry. And so far, we've seen hints of it, just hints of it, because the Spurs started the preseason without their big guns. They're going to be without one of their big guns, Devin Vassell, to start the regular season. So a lot of that factors in, but there are still some things to talk about after 2 preseason games. Jack, why don't you get us started here? What are you seeing so far? What is a couple of takeaways that you like or dislike about the Spurs?
I mean, first and foremost, right off the bat, Stephon Castle looks like that dude. He has been absolutely balling. He's attacking the basket. With such great pace, so deliberate. His vision on the court has been stellar, finding wide open threes, hitting cutters. His defense, what everyone thought was going to be his best attribute coming into the league, also been stellar, averaging a couple steals a game through the first couple preseason, guarding the opponent's best guard or best player. And, in the case of the Magic game, we saw him matched up on Paolo quite a bit. So, yeah, I mean, Stephon Castle, he jumps off the screen. He looks super legit. He looks ahead of his time as a rookie with the pace and the IQ that he plays with. So, yeah, the Spurs, it looks
Yeah.
like the Spurs hit on another one for sure because he looks like that
Yeah.
dude. He's going to be so good.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give my takeaway in just a few minutes, but to talk about Castle, I had a chance to talk to him a couple days ago after the win versus the Magic, and Jack, he went there already in just 2 preseason games. I'm kid you not. You can go read the story on kensfi.com/Spurs. He said the game's already slowing down for him. I'm not kidding. He said that to me. He goes, yeah, there's some adjustment here. There's the physicality. And he complimented the rosters that he's played. He said it's 14 guys deep. They got to know something about ball to be on an NBA team. But he finished up saying, but you know what? The game's already slowing down for me. There's no way, Jack, right? There is no way a rookie who's not played a single regular season game can already say that. Is he that confident? Is he that guy, as you mentioned?
I mean, he's definitely that confident and he's got that, kill or be killed mentality for sure. But I mean, it's a little far-fetched. He doesn't have, a lot of starting NBA caliber players, guarding him through his full time in the preseason. And yeah, I mean, he's certainly better than a lot of the bench mob guys that he's playing a lot of the consistent minutes against so far in the preseason. But I mean, looking at the way he plays, his pace is super deliberate. And I don't want to say it's slow, but it's more like be quick but don't hurry. You can tell he's moving at a deliberate pace, but he's not hurrying, which is helping him be able to find open players for the assists or, just
Right.
take guys to the basket.
Yeah, I got a chance to catch up with Mamu after preseason game one. Same thing. He said, "Hey, I'm noticing that Steph is, the pace that he's already playing with." Wemby said a couple nights ago that Castle looks mature on the court, well beyond his years. So you get it. They got to say that about their teammate. They're not going to bash him, but at the same time, you also got to be realistic. It is just 2 preseason games. He stepped up the level of competition from summer league, then he goes to NBA preseason. But you got to keep this in mind, everybody. The teams are playing guys that either are not going to see a lot of time in a preseason game, like your Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who sat out, just like the Spurs sat out Wemby. So there's that as well. But I do like his confidence. I do like the confidence, Jack. He looks like he could be the real deal. Before we transition to your next point, but know what else stood out for me about Castle? He's putting guys on the roster on notice. Your Malachi
Hmm.
Branhams, your Blake Wesleys, your
Yeah,
do I even say your Devin Vassell's? I mean, if he
it's
pans out,
possible.
there's some guys in the roster that could be biting their fingernails, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's a great segue into what my next takeaway so far have been is we've seen who the odd man out is, and Malachi Branham.
Mhm.
uh, it's rough, man. I thought we might see some, consistency brought into this new season. We brought him in to be that
Mhm.
scoring combo guard, and it's just not there. We just we
Mhm.
he has been at a steady decline since his rookie year. That was the best he ever looked, and
Yeah.
since then he has not been able to figure out. I mean, against the Magic, 4 for 13, two
Ooh,
for eight
brutal.
from three, and only one assist. So, I mean, if you're not scoring the ball, consistently, and you're not thought of as, one of our best defenders, and you're not dishing the ball at a high rate, getting assists, I mean, why do we put you on the court? I think I've liked a lot more of what I've seen from Blake
Yeah.
Wesley. He's super tenacious on defense. He was not brought in to be a scoring guard. He was brought in to be sort of a
Right.
Trey Jones-esque floor general. And I mean, last game against the Magic, he saw 23 minutes. He went 2 of 5 from the field. He had 5 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. I mean, that's just it just you can see it on the court that Blake Wesley looks a whole lot more comfortable and dynamic than Malachi
Mhm.
Branham does. And it's just he's looking like the odd man out. And honestly, I think if we gave Malachi Flynn the minutes that we're giving Malachi Branham, he would show out
Yeah.
a lot more.
Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. Go to gametime.co right now. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets easier for your favorite live events that much better. Game Time filters out the fluff, so you only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Hey, Game Time has it all. They have the super deal. They got seats view before you buy. They got curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. You will be pleasantly surprised with this app. Go get it right now. Game Time Picks, again, that's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Hey, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from Cybertron Spring.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, we discussed Malachi on yesterday's Locked On Spurs. We brought that up, the consistency. We looked at the numbers, and you look at his. It's just like up and down. Like seriously, his rookie season to his sophomore season, it's rookie season. We give him a pass, and then he spikes up in with free throw percentage. Okay, good, Malachi, keep that going. And then you look at the mid range game. He's pretty good at the rim, continue getting to the rim, but you look at the other, like just within the 3-point line, he trails off. He has a decline. His 3-point shot has a decline. So he's like this. It's like a roller coaster. So
Yep.
yeah, I think it could be numbered days for Malachi. Now, again, just as much you're gonna say, hey, Steph Castle, maybe pump the brakes a bit, about the game slowing down for you, just preseason. Can you say that same argument for Malachi? Hey, don't bail on him because it's just preseason, and he, along with everybody else, is shaking off the rust.
It's different though. I mean, Malachi's got 2 full NBA seasons under his belt. Like going into your 3rd year should really be when the game does actually, really, really start to slow down for you.
Mhm.
And we just haven't seen that from Malachi. He looks rushed. He looks sped up. His shot is just flat consistently. He just no jump on his jump shot. And even in the first game, 18 minutes, 5 for 14, 2 from 8 from 3. No assists with 12
Yeah.
points. It's just he's not adding a whole lot to the team that I think there are guys on the bench that could come in and add a whole lot more if you divvied those minutes up amongst Malachi Flynn and Blake Wesley. I think you see a whole lot more production at the guard at the bench guard spot. And it's already, a log jam at that 1 and 2 position, especially 2 now with the way we've seen Julian, who he's come in
Mhm.
and looked fantastic, shooting the
Yeah.
ball at an excellent clip, playing good defense, attacking the glass. Like
Yeah.
he looks like the game has slowed down for him and he
Yeah,
has
for
found
sure.
his role on this team. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's not looking good for Malachi's future with the Spurs. And I was excited when we drafted him. He was electric at Ohio State, one of the best guards in the
Mhm.
country, but it just hasn't panned out for him yet in the league. And it's not as it's worse, I would say, but it's looking along the lines of Lonnie Walker. Just can't
Ooh.
can't be their consistency. Someone that showed a lot of flashes, has a lot of
Yeah.
potential, but just it never slowed down and he couldn't live up to it. So I just Malachi's kind of trending towards that area.
Man, are you saying James Anderson territory? Remember that
Yeah,
guy?
yeah,
James
James
Anderson,
Anderson.
Spurs first
Hey, but
round pick.
even James Anderson could
Yeah.
shoot the 3.
That's true. You know what? As far as Malachi, I'm close, but I'm not there yet to just completely give up and throw my hands up in the air and say, okay, we got to let him go. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's 2 preseason games. One thing I would have loved to have seen is maybe he push for the starting nod with Devin Vassell out to start the season. It looks like that's going to be Julian's to lose at this point. He's gonna get that starting job. But I would have just liked to see Malachi just really make the coaching staff think, oh, okay, well maybe he should get slotted in there. But so far he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been shooting great. You're talking about facilitating. He hasn't really done that in 2 preseason games. I'm going to give him the full preseason slate. Let's see how he plays leading up to the regular season. And also, too, Jack, isn't he like in a contract situation? Like I think the team option is on the table, right?
This is his 3rd year, so yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that the team option would be on the table.
Yeah. So, so far, not so good of a start for preseason Malachi Branham. Keep that in mind, but we'll see if he gets better against Utah this weekend. Any other takeaways you have from the first pair of preseason games?
Yeah, I think Mamu has kind of cemented himself in the regular season rotation, especially if he can shoot the 3 like he has been. He's a utility knife big, and he's getting a lot of run
Yep.
at center in the preseason without Zach and Charles playing, and that's not really his true position. He's a 4, so he's kind of getting
Yeah.
bullied on the boards. But I've liked what I've seen from Mamu out there. His shot looks excellent. He's looking really confident.
Mhm.
Him and Castle, bench mob already seem to have a good, connection and rapport with each other on that pick and pop. So yeah, I've liked what I've seen out of Mamu a lot too.
Yeah, Popovich said a couple days ago that he's noticing that Mom was a lot more confident in his 3 shot. So that's good. You can see it. He is taking them and he's letting them fly, and there's no hesitation. You got to see that. And I think he knows that bigs in today's NBA got to knock down those shots. He is doing that. But yeah, Jack, looks like you like what you see out of Castle. You don't like what you see out of Malachi, and you're liking what you see out of Mamu. Those are not bad picks slash takeaways for first 2 preseason games. Now, for me, one thing I'm liking is the CP3 Wemby connection. That looks like it's going to be devastating for the league. They already connected on their first alley-oop lob pass. Yay. They look like they're starting, especially CP3. He's looking for him first. I don't know if you've seen that in that game versus the Magic. Every time Wemby and him were on the court and he's coming down back on, he's looking for Wemby first and foremost. That is the right thing to do. So I'm liking what I see out of that. The very starting seeds of that pairing could mean disaster for the opposition this upcoming season. But a quick bonus takeaway is, man, does Riley Minix, is he gonna push this coaching staff to really think about either waiving him or at minimum at least keeping him in Austin, because he came in first possession, first shot, confidently takes the 3 and nails it. This guy can shoot. Jack, what are your thoughts about Minix?
Yeah, I mean, big fan of Riley Minix. He's a 4 for 5 from 3 in his very limited minutes, and he showed that he's got some mid-range game as well, and he can attack the basket, finish at the rim. Yeah, I think Minix, he's definitely athletically challenged would be a nice way to put it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see him being a great defender in the league, but he could definitely turn into a, Doug McDermott type of player. He's
Or
got a
even
beautiful
a
jumper.
Matt Bonner type player.
Yeah, Matt Bonner, he's gonna be who we
Yeah.
thought Joe Wieskamp would be when we drafted him. He's gonna stretch the floor at an elite level
Yep.
in any minutes that he gets, and it's just that's super valuable on an NBA team that, focal point is gonna be, within the NBA within the arc. So any guy that can go out there and,
Yeah.
stretch the floor is going to be valuable to this team. And I definitely see Riley Minix at least staying in Austin. I wouldn't let him go with that kind of shooting ability.
No. No, I'm not letting him go. Yeah, reminiscent of McDermott, of Matt Bonner. Matt Bonner wasn't a great defender, nor was McDermott, but they were a specialist, and they can spread that floor. And what makes Minix intriguing for me is this team lacks deep perimeter threats. They don't really have that at all. Wemby, sure, Barnes, okay, but Minix so far has been proving that this guy is a gunner. A friend of Locked On Spurs, AP sports writer Raul Dominguez, we were sitting together in the Magic game for the Magic game at the Frost, and he tells me, "Hey, look, Minix is coming in," and he says, "Watch, first possession, first shot is going to be a three, make it." And sure enough, it happened. I mean, that's how confident Press Row is about this kid just coming in and being a shooter and a gutter. And also too, spreading that floor for Wemby is very vital. You got to have that. The Spurs don't really have that at all right now. Minix could push that. And, another takeaway I have. Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel.com right now. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So much when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You just got to go to FanDuel.com right now. Speaking of FanDuel.com, look, the NBA season is also around the corner. Spurs fans, time to have some fun with your silver and black on the court. The app is very easy to get, very easy to use, user-friendly, very intuitive. Make your picks, 1, 2, 3. Bet on parlays, bet on win spreads, totals. I mean, seriously, you can have so much fun with sports this sports season with FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Another reason why you got to go to FanDuel when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Go to FanDuel.com right now, America's #1 sports book. From the first two games is, Wemby. He looked pretty good in his debut, but obviously still, coming off the long summer, the Olympic play, he looked very rusty. That's going to shake off. I don't think Spurs fans should worry about it. I like that the Spurs told him, all right, you're done for the night in the third quarter. He actually went back to the locker room, and a lot of Spurs fans were freaking out. Like, well, why is he going back? What happened? What happened? So he's exiting the Frost into the tunnel, and he's all smiles. He's waving to the crowd, no limping or nothing. I just like the fact that they're keeping him in that flow there, as far as, hey, bring him on little by little. Don't push him too much, because frankly, Jack, I would rather have him sit out the entire preseason, or let alone just play 2 quarters, because I don't need to see this guy just go out, for a meaningless game.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely liked what I saw from Wemby. I mean, we got the classic Wemby flashes of greatness with that pump fake, drive to the basket slam, the Chris Paul alley-oop. He had a couple of really good blocks. Yeah, Wemby's going to be Wemby, and he's just going to continue to improve and literally impress everybody in the world.
Yep.
We've seen one other thing. I mean, Harrison Barnes over the first 2 preseason games has gotten 20 minutes plus, and it's been a little lackluster. I mean, of course, we don't have the full team, but I mean, 6 points, 5 rebounds against the Thunder with 3 assists, so not bad, but 1 for 4 from 3. You would like to see that better. And then 21 minutes against the Magic with only 2 points and 2 rebounds. Only took 3 shots, but definitely would like to see Harrison Barnes try to assert himself a little more in the offense, because we're going to need him to be a valuable offensive threat.
He is Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Let me know on Locked On Spurs YouTube page your thoughts about the first 2 Spurs preseason games. What do you like? What don't you like from the silver and black? All right, let's go ahead and transition to Locked On Spurs fan comments. But first, Jack, quick shout out to Danny Green. He announced he has retired from the game of basketball, helped the Spurs win the 2014 NBA title. Maybe could have been the MVP in 2013, the way he was playing. That's up for debate, but nevertheless, what a career. His journey from the G League, or back then it was called the D League, to the Spurs and back and overseas. he had to play with Tim Duncan, LeBron James, winning titles in Toronto with Kawhi, part of that Kawhi deal. He definitely has etched his name in Spurs franchise history. Salute to him. Quick story though. He had a basketball camp in Long Island, New York, and I was living there during my years and years in living in New York City. And I went out there to go cover for him. He was real thankful for that, real appreciative. Treated me like he's known me for years. Well, he had two sites. He had a camp in one location in Long Island, and another one. Well, I didn't have a ride, and he saw me like kind of looking for a cab. And he goes, don't worry about that. He goes, I'll give you a ride to the other site. So we're going in his car, and he starts showing it off. So he had like, where the mirrors are, side mirrors. He had holograms where it just beam out, and it would create like they'll start circling
Hmm.
patterns of the Spurs logo. We go inside his car. It's all freaking fancied up. He gives me a ride, so I always remember that memory with Danny Green, getting in the car with him and just covering his basketball camp. Still to today, even though he's not a Spur, he's still putting on basketball camps for kids. You like I definitely think he's gonna go down as one of the fan favorites. He still is. But shout out Danny Green, man. You was
Yeah,
he was a
shout out D
Tar
Green.
Heel, everything. He had. I don't think people realize he had a pretty heck of a career from college to the pros.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen Danny Green highlights, he didn't play anything in college like he did in the league. That man was a high flyer and would just dunk on you viciously at the rim, and he completely changed his game around. I
Hmm.
mean, we saw the athleticism and his defensive prowess when he was, locking up the best offensive threats in the league. But as far as, the way he changed his
Yeah.
offensive game, he was a slasher dunker in college that turned into an absolute sniper in the pros.
Mm.
And that just comes with countless, countless reps and countless hours in the gym perfecting his craft. A true professional, a dear Spur will all love and remember Danny Green for a very long time. And he had a hell of a career. He was multi-time champion, played with all-time greats, just everything you could ask for in an NBA career. Danny Green accomplished it, and just happy for him to see him
Yeah.
ride off into the sunset on his own terms.
Exactly, exactly. He's likely going to see the broadcasting booth. He was training for that during his
Yeah.
playing days. He would go to, I think ESPN puts on like a kind of a camp or a mini training camp for athletes that want to transition to that. He took part of that. Not going to be surprised if he does that. So, congratulations to Danny Green on your retirement. Now, Locked On Spurs fans, it's your time to shine here. Now, you guys have been spicy on the comments, and y'all continue to be a little heated and hot take-ish. We're going to dive into
Love
that
it.
right now. The first one is from Anthony underscore Ramos 361. He says, um, I listened to the show. So he's referring to a recent show where Locked On Spurs were already willing to trade everybody on the roster after a preseason game. He says, but a realistic Spurs trade I would love is to trade Keldon Zach with two future number one first round swap picks, Atlanta's and Celtics picks for Jaren Jackson. Give number two like his father. So he's shooting for Jaren Jackson. I appreciate the moxie
Yeah.
there, Anthony, but that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, this
Maybe he has that on lock right now.
I mean, that's would be a heck of a trade for the Grizzlies. I mean, I do think that in the long term they come out on top with that deal, but right now that's not a team that's, looking to rebuild. They're getting jaw back, they're trying to get to full strength, and Jaren Jackson Jr. has been the one holding it down for the past two seasons, so I just don't envision them trading him like that. He doesn't seem like a guy that could really be had right now. So
Yeah,
while that would be incredible, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Wimby would be crazy at rim protection, absolutely absurd rim protection. It's just not something that is gonna happen.
yeah, that definitely ain't gonna happen. But Anthony, I appreciate it. And the Spurs fans, or at least Locked On Spurs fans, are still on the trade insert player name wagon here. This was from Christian Picardo 2683. He says, Vassell for Hachimura. Straight up, I'm good for it. Why? Vassell is fragile already. I don't know. Straight up, what do you think, Jack?
I don't hate that because
Yeah.
I think Rui is a very good NBA player. He's probably in the same, if he was, not playing with LeBron and AD, I think he would be of a much thought of as a much higher,
Yeah.
value because he's can shoot the ball really well, super athletic, good defender, good rebounder, all that stuff. That just I don't know how that really helps the Spurs. It just
Yeah.
creates another logjam at a position because then you've got
Yeah.
Jeremy, Harrison, Rui, Mamu, Wimby, Zach. Like those are
Forget
all
about it
guys
already.
that play 4 minutes. So it's just not something that is feasible for the Spurs. It creates too much of a logjam at that position. And while I think he'd be a valuable asset, it's just I don't think that it would work. We would have to give up someone in that same position area to try
Yeah.
and bring in Rui. I don't think it would work very well.
Yeah, me there. I'm right there with you. It just and also too another factor is Steph Castle. If he pans out to be what I think he can be, the Spurs don't even want. Well, A, they probably would see Vassell as perhaps expendable, and then B, even if you make that swap, Hachi's not gonna. And if Castle pans out, Hachimura is not gonna get the minutes that he's probably getting right now. So we'll see. But hey, Spurs fans or Locked On Spurs fans, you guys, man, you already want to trade everybody after a preseason game and 2 preseason game. Give them time to cook, man. Give them time to cook. That's all you got to do. He is Jack Thompson. Make sure to follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33, and we appreciate him as always. And his dad says he does a fine job here, so he got his old man congratulating him for doing a good job. By the way, man, that was the first time I saw your dad at a game. I had never seen him at a game before.
He never goes. I don't know why.
I
wish I could tell you.
I looked and I looked and said, "Wait, is that Jack? Is that Rob?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it is him." He came up, he said hello and everything. So it's good to meet up with your dad there, and even if it was for a brief. But the whole star crew was there. It was him. It was Minix. It was a new guy. I was wishing Pledger would show up, but Pledger wasn't there. So
Pledger's always swamped.
Yeah, he does Locked On Spurs late at night from work. I think he's just a workaholic. He's just addicted to it. Again, Jack, we appreciate you as always. Thanks for hopping on Locked On Spurs, and we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free to bill wherever you get podcasts. We'll be back next week, talking all things silver and black as the preseason games continue leading up to the regular season. And subscribe at YouTube, Kens 5 Plus app, iTunes, Spotify. You know where to go. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs right now. So for Jack Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.